This is Matthew McConaughey.
Natalie Portman.
James Patterson.
Michael Ian Black.
And you are listening to
Five Questions
with Dan
Schawbel.
Jeremy, welcome to Five Questions.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
What motivated you to leave college at age 19 to join a talent agency?
Well, I was motivated as a result of, it was sort of a mutual decision between myself and Boston University, where I think we mutually decided that continuing there was not the best path for either of us. So I'd say that I was never a particularly good student, and my time in formal education had run its course.
I was always very happy to graduate elementary school, middle school, high school, and college. I was like, this is not for me.
I didn't end up graduating. I just ended up, a mutual decision. It was time for me to move on.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like more common for people who are more entrepreneurial minded to just not like the school system because it's like very status quo. So for me, I was like, oh, I can't wait to get to this next phase of my life so I could do my own thing.
I mean, some people say that one of the best definitions of an entrepreneur is that they're otherwise unemployable.
Yeah.
And I think, college, the structure of it was not easy for me. I'm sure today I'd be diagnosed with ADHD, and that would probably make it easier for me to deal with.
Probably. I mean, all the sharks on Shark Tank, I believe, or at least half of them. What are the biggest challenges and opportunities across the entertainment landscape, and what role does talent play in how the industry evolves?
Well, the biggest challenge and opportunity across the entertainment landscape today is how do we, and it's been really the challenge across all entertainment and art forever, which is, how does the intersection of creativity and commerce, what happens at that intersection, and how do we continue to run it as a business while at the same time fostering and encouraging talent to do their best work and to dream the right dreams. And so what role does talent play in how the industry evolves? They play an essential role in the middle of it. And the hardest thing for talent right now is finding the avenues to tell original stories that have size and scope and really can move an audience. And I think that that's the challenge talent is facing, particularly in movies and television right now.
Yeah, I've heard also that there are a lot of people have said there's like fewer big like action heroes than there was like decades ago. And so it's harder for maybe one person to just carry a movie.
I don't know. I can't remember. I think it was Betty Davis who said, the stars didn't get smaller, the movies did, something like that. I think that's part of it is right now the definition or the sort of default definition of a powerful movie is a small movie that's, that's all driven by a social issue or as opposed to, a big, powerful, sweeping drama. You think about movies like Out of Africa and Reds and some of the movies that really powered the industry for so long. They're not making those kinds of movies.
Yeah, and the way in which you think of talent, I think, is really smart, and I completely agree with this. Developing multi-hyphenated brands, like I think of myself as speaker, author, podcaster, researcher, hyphen. And so, can you give a few examples of how you've done this with some of your artists?
Well, again, we operate from the artist, the talent out. So our talent wake up on any given day and say, I'd really love to do this. Or I saw so-and-so had created a shoe line. I'd love to do that. I have a real passion for that. Or, I love telling stories. I'd love to tell stories in the audio format. Are you guys capable of helping me build a podcast business? So our challenge or our process is to build the capability ahead of the client's awareness to know that they might want it. So that when they wake up and say, you know what, I had a dream last night. I had this incredible idea for a book. Great, we can help you do that. So that's what our our mission is to always have the capability to help our clients do the things they want to do, and sometimes even before they know they want to do it.
That's smart because it's a retention play too. Because if you can't do it, then they're like, oh, my talent agency doesn't offer this, or don't know what they're doing. They don't have the capability, so I'll go to another talent agency. So
well,
it's almost
I'd like to think it's purely aspirational and not defensive at all, but maybe there is a bit of a retention play in there, as you say.
Yeah, and what you and UTA have done so well is you're staying ahead of the curve, like you're saying. Like you've signed a series of NFT projects like Proof. What role do you think NFTs, the blockchain, and digital talent have in the future of entertainment?
Well, you can kind of separate those things because the tendency is to put them all together. I do think the blockchain as a new distribution platform has the potential to be a very potent and differentiating force where artists can create content and monetize that content directly to their fan, their consumer, without an intermediary. And that the potential of that, if realized and unlocked and not subsequently intermediated, I think is really, really potent. NFTs are, a brilliant way to capture that, whatever that story is, that art is, whatever that is, in that form, and capture it in that non-fungible token and allow that to be distributed to people through an NFT. And digital talent, which is, this massive bucket, and the idea that these are all put together in the same sentence is, digital talent is really the forebearers of the creator economy. And, we've been in the digital talent business for a very, very long time before it was a thing. And, we've seen the evolution and the power of digital talent. Those people who have grown up natively on platforms where they have a direct relationship with their consumer. And we're huge believers that their role in the future of entertainment is going to be very significant.
Yeah, when I was growing up, no one was talking about how many times did an artist's song get streamed, right? And now you hear that way more than how many, CDs were sold.
How many records did
they
I
know. So that's very transformational. So it seems like you're also looking at this from the consumer perspective too, because in terms of distribution, in terms of their needs, maybe they're looking for music in other forms like NFTs and in different ways to get that music, like social media, TikTok, and everything like that. So it's both from the talent perspective as well as consumer behavior.
Well, you have to, to be a great advisor to talent, you have to understand the consumer and their relationship with the consumer and how to evolve that relationship. Because, if the tree's falling in the forest and no one's hearing it, who knows if it makes any sound? So that's how artists have to understand their relationship with the consumer ultimately.
Absolutely. And what's your best piece of career advice?
Well, I always say that the greatest business tool available to you is a mirror, but you have to be willing to really use it, which means you have to really take a look at yourself. And what are you bringing to the party? And what are you doing well? And what are you not doing well? And what are you willing to give up in order to do something really well? And the mirror becomes this sort of very unfiltered reality that if you can dare to really use it, can be a really powerful tool for advancing your career.
Well, it answers a lot of questions for you. Why aren't you getting parts in shows or movies? Like, why isn't certain things happening to you? And maybe you have to kind of reflect on, what makes you good or where you need improvement to be able to change that.
You have to be willing to ask yourself the tough questions and not look to everybody else. Why aren't this? Why aren't that? But you got to be able to look in the mirror and go, you know what? Because the script isn't good enough. I haven't worked hard enough. I haven't committed myself deeply enough. And those are, sometimes hard realizations to come to.
Well, that's great advice. And thank you so much for being on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.